When chaos comes into your life, how do you respond? Do you just go crazy, shut everything down, and retract? Or do you lean into it and see what happens? Welcome to the Authority Journey podcast. Achieving your most audacious goals doesn't happen by accident. Explore the authority journey and what it takes to influence, lead, and succeed. My name is Kathryn Aragon, and I am your host for today's episode, Chaos, Uncertainty, and Growth. Sam Ovens at consulting.com is an authority journey worth studying. In less than a decade, he went from living in his parents' garage to running a multi-million-dollar business. Pretty impressive. I got to work with him for a short while right after he moved to New York, and the growth, even from there to today, has been nothing short of amazing. Every now and then I drop over to consulting.com to see what's going on now. I like keeping up with people I've worked with and, seeing where they're going. And I tell you what, I am so impressed with Sam Ovens. He was a wonder boy, honestly, young at the time even, so full of wisdom and just understanding how to build a business. But recently, I saw his story from those early days, and the word that stood out when he described this journey, his authority journey, was chaos. And it got me thinking about those chaotic moments in my own life. You see, that's the big takeaway. Growth is chaotic. There's no way around it. And I think so many times we scratch our heads and we wonder, why isn't something happening for me? Where's my good stuff? Why do I see other people growing and achieving big things and none of that is happening for me? Here's what I want you to hear. Some of us run away from chaos. And if we do, we may never see the growth. Some of us are like, okay, it's going to be crazy, but let's go. They're the Marines of business, It's like, okay, this is going to be hard. This could be deadly, but we're going in. That's the mindset you have to have if you are going to grow. We like this pretty picture of growth. We like the pretty picture of that we say, okay, this is the destination for my authority journey. But what we don't really like is how it feels getting there. And this is such an important lesson. It's so easy for us to overlook it. There is chaos, and there is uncertainty on the way to your dream. The path may get rocky. It may take you in an area where there is no path. You may get lost. You might lose your map or your compass every now and then. But the destination is still there. It's real. It's not a mirage. You are on a road. You are on a path towards something that you decided you wanted. It's up to you to get there. And I promise you, it will get messy along the way. You will feel like you're going in circles every now and then. You may feel like you have to backtrack and try again. I've backtracked and tried again multiple times. That's part of it. And we have to, every now and then, I have to sit down and it's the end of the day. I'm exhausted. I'm a little bit demotivated. And I just have to say, okay, but you know what? This is what you signed up for. This is how it happens. These moments where it feels like we're just spinning our wheels and nothing is happening. No, things are happening. You just can't see it yet. The uncertainty, the chaos is part of the journey. We have to embrace it. It's part of the game. We have to be willing to step into those moments. I love the book, Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In, because it's such a good way to describe how we physically manifest our feelings towards these moments in our lives. There are moments when we feel like we're not visible, like nothing we're doing is working, but we have to lean in. Only when we lean in will the good things come to us. Now, see, for me, I'm going to take you back 10 years ago for me, because it was this year, 10 years ago, where I had a car accident that hurt my back, of course. Went to get help. They said, oh, you need injections in your back. I went to get the injections and I was paralyzed. That was, talk about chaotic, right? I had to grow my business from bed. Fortunately, I'm actually grateful I had started my business already. But I was completely reliant on my family. Actually, those first few months, I couldn't feed myself. They had to bring me my computer for 4 years because I couldn't lift anything. I literally lifted, a teapot, and strained my back. And that was after a couple of years. Those first few months, I couldn't do anything. And so here I am trying to run a business from bed. I actually at this point don't want anyone to know what's going on, because if you think, you call a vendor and they say, yeah, I'm working from bed. It doesn't necessarily build trust, does it? So I was keeping that quiet. Nobody needed to know what my personal struggle was. I was still going to do whatever I was hired to do. What the business, the project that I was selling, the service that I was providing, that was going to happen, and you were going to get my best. Okay. But from bed, I've got limited resources. I can't just go to an event and start networking and drumming up business. I can't, invite people over for a power lunch. I can't go out for coffee I can't do normal business building stuff. But I'm at a point where I've gone as far as I can go in the path that I had set for myself. And that's when things started to get a little chaotic. I was trying to grow to the next level. And I didn't understand this concept that chaos brings growth. You're going to have to go through chaos to get to the good stuff on the other side. I just didn't know that. And I wasn't able to manage the stress of that. Just feeling like I didn't have the resources I needed to have was just, it made me want to shut things down. So I tried to contain it. Now, here's the thing. That created a huge slump in my business that I have had to work doubly hard to overcome. I've heard of other people also, big name people, who say they kind of took a year off from their business. They built something, it was impressive. They were like, oh, I'm good. I can take a little time off. For them, it may not have been chaos, or maybe they were recovering from the chaos. So they were taking a little bit of time off for self-care, to just enjoy the growth that they had developed, and everything slowed down. So many times the chaos, the energy, the uncertainty, that's part of the game. And if we don't continue to play the game, we won't win. You can't win a game you're not playing. So we need to be willing to lean into that chaos, uncertainty. There is a game that I used to play. My son loves strategy games. Risk, I think it was. I could be wrong. But it's basically you're trying to second guess what the other person is doing. And I hate that game because I don't know what the other person's trying to do. I never know if I'm going to get blown up and lose the game right off. I can't use my own strategy. It's all guesswork. I don't like that game. Well, that's how it feels growing your business. There is chaos. There is uncertainty. You don't know if the next step could blow things up. But you have a pretty good idea. And the more you play the game, the better you get at it. My son played that game all the time, so he was good at it. I wasn't. So we need to be willing to play the game, even when we're tired, even when we've gone through this giant moment of growth and we're like, yes, I'm there. We can't lay down the game. If we're on the front end of that chaotic moment, on the front end of all that growth, it's going to feel messy, but we can't stop playing the game. We have to lean into the chaos, lean into everything, even lean into the other side of it when things start to calm down a little bit. And now we're like, okay, what's next? We have to lean into that too. Growth is chaotic. You have to have multiple balls in the air at any given moment, and you really will have no idea of where they're going to land. I am not a juggler. I can't do that. So the idea of having multiple balls in the air can be a little bit frightening. Where are they all going to land? Fortunately, I'm good at doing multiple things at one time. It's the same thing, essentially, but it doesn't require me to catch those balls. So just understand there will be many things going on at the same time. You may feel like you've got too many things going on. If that's the case, you need to slow down, look at the priorities. You need to look at, okay, what direction am I going, and is everything in front of me taking me to that destination? Last week's Authority Journey podcast talks in depth about this, so go back and listen to that one if you want to learn more about setting priorities to fast track your success. Because it's really there I talk about, are you doing too many things at once, or maybe you do need to be doing multiple things at once. Sometimes that's the key. But you need to look for clarity, not control. I tried to control the chaos, and I essentially shut down growth. Don't do that. That's a big mistake. I'm just going to tell you that right up front. Chaos signals that you are growing, that good things are coming. You just need to manage it. You need to look for clarity. Am I going in the right direction? You need to know where you're headed so you can let some of those balls go. You might need to. But some of them, and this is how you know, some of them are not in alignment with your goals. Those are the ones that need to go out the window. Just drop those balls. Don't try to manage them. Some, they're the bright, shiny objects. It looks attractive, but it's not helping. I like tracking everything you're doing. You need to look at, okay, I have this brilliant idea. I think it's amazing. I am going to give it a college try. I'm going to give it everything I've got for a little while. And then I'm going to look at, did it actually move the needle? If it didn't move the needle, don't keep doing something that's not working. Nobody will care, especially, here's the deal. We always are afraid of letting something go. Say, oh, it'll look like a failure if I've been doing this activity that nobody cares about and I stop doing it. But the truth is, if nobody cared about it, nobody's going to even notice if you stop doing it. Don't ever make this commitment to a project that's not helping you. Always be willing to stop doing the things that aren't moving the needle. Put your energy into the things that will move the needle. And it does take clarity to figure what that is. So you need to track everything you're doing. Does it give you good results? Keep doing it. Does it move the needle? Maybe it's worth doing. If it doesn't, it is definitely worth stopping it. Let those balls go. And then push through. This is a mental game. We play this game. We exhaust ourselves worrying about what's right, what's wrong. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to give you a secret. Nobody knows what they're doing. We are all in a game where we're trying to figure out what's the next step. But there is no guidebook. There is a guru who you are watching right now, who you are following, and they're saying the only way to do this is the way I did it. Here's the steps I took. More power to them. I am so pleased that you found someone who can share some steps that they took to achieve where they're going. And if that's where you want to go, you might want to mimic them. But don't just blindly follow. Here's the deal. You need to make sure that you're going the right direction for you. And what worked for them might not work for you because they tested and tried things. You have to test things and try things too. There is no guidebook that you can count on. I share a lot about what's worked for me, but the way it worked for me might not be the way it works for you. You're going to need to try it on for size. You're going to need to say, okay, I see her steps. I'm going to look at those steps and do something similar, but I'm not going to copy. Never copy. You need to manage this growth, but you don't need to be afraid of it. Chaos is part of it. Uncertainty is part of it. Don't worry about that. Lean in. So how do you manage chaos? Well, you have to set your priorities. You have to know what matters and what doesn't. You cannot slack off. Don't take a year off just because you achieved a goal. Try to stay ahead of your deadlines. You may be working harder for a while, but it's an investment in your future. Slacking off will never get you through the chaos. Chaos feels like it's too much. It feels like it's overwhelming. But I promise you there is some order inside of all that chaos, and you just have to lean in so you can see it. Get help if you need help. You only have so many hours in the day, but a team who believes in your vision will help. You can delegate. That's what I've actually begun to do. I'm pulling people in to help me where I need help, so that frees space so I can take time to see the vision again. Things get chaotic, things get crazy, it feels overwhelming, but when I get people in to help me, now I can see it again, and I can course correct. Maybe I've gotten a little bit off track. Maybe I've gotten sidetracked by something. Maybe I set a wrong priority, or maybe I'm right on track. I just needed to be able to see the path so I knew it. Get help when you need it. Always examine your why. Make sure you believe in where you're headed enough to go through the chaos. Because, that's another thing. If you don't really enjoy where you're headed, you're allowed to change course. Turn in your ticket, get a new ticket, go somewhere you want to go. Don't keep leaning in. If once you lean in, you go, I don't even like this. Go ahead and shift gears. Finally, enjoy the ride. Growth is chaotic. You just got to enjoy it. You can't want the destination but not want the journey. They come together. It's a package. And you need to enjoy the trip. I love. I've got some friends who say the way they are optimizing their business, they're optimizing for happiness. Isn't that a great way to build a business? You want to build a business you love. You want to build a life you love. Optimize for happiness. Everything else will fall into place, but be aware. It will be chaotic sometimes. So enjoy the chaos. Enjoy the uncertainty. It just means that good things are coming. That's what I have for you today. Visit me on KathrynAragon.com and at solopreneurlife.com. And by all means, subscribe to the Authority Journey podcast. I'll be with you again next week. Until then, stay awesome.